A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Imam Hussain is the second son of Imam Ali and Bibi Fatima alayhi salam. He was born in Medina on Thursday, 3rd of Sha'ban, 4AH. When Imam Hussain was born, Allah ordered the Archangel Jibreel to take with him thousands of other angels and to go to the Prophet's house to congratulate him. When Jibreel was on his way, he passed over an island on which was imprisoned an angel named Fitrus. This angel had fallen out of divine favor and had, therefore, lost even his limbs. On seeing Jibreel and his army, Fitrus inquired as to what was behind this march. On learning that the angels were on their way to congratulate the Prophet, he requested Jibreel to take him along so that he too could salute the Prophet on this happy occasion. His wishes were granted, and he too was taken to the house of the Prophet. Once in the company of the Prophet, Fitrus appealed to him, asking him for the sake of the newly born boy to seek his lost favors from Allah. The Prophet advised Fitrus to hold the cradle in which Imam Hussain was sleeping and to request Allah to restore to him his old position in honor of the Imam. Fitrus did what the Prophet told him to do. Allah accepted his prayers and returned to Fitrus his limbs and his old position. Fitrus went back joyous and feeling proud for having been forgiven for the sake of Imam Hussain. When the Prophet was informed of his birth, he came to Bibi Fatima's house. He read arbaeen in the boy's right ears and aqama in the left ear. He then put his mouth on the child's mouth and fed him with his saliva. The Prophet himself named the child Hussain. On the 7th day following Imam Hussein's birth, the Prophet performed aqiqah. A sheep was slaughtered and the child had his head shaved clean. The hair was weighed and an equivalent weight of gold was given to the poor as charity. Like Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain also was very much liked by the Prophet. Not only would the Prophet kiss and hug his grandson Hussain, he would carry him in his arms or even on his back. Like Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain also on several occasions mounted on the Prophet's back when in sajda, and the Prophet would prolong his sajda until when the child would come down from the back of the Prophet on his own. Once the Prophet was giving sermon from the pulpit or mimbar in the mosque of Medina. Imam Hussain walked into the mosque. He stumbled and fell. The Prophet stopped his sermon. He stepped down from the pulpit and carried the young Imam back to the mimbar. Not only that, but the Prophet advised the Muslims to love Hussain, as loving him was like loving the Prophet himself, and that in turn meant loving Allah. All scholars of Islam agree on the truthfulness of the famous hadith of the Prophet, namely that Hussain is from me and I am from Hussain. It is easy to see how Imam Hussain is from the Prophet, but how do we explain the Prophet saying, I am from Hussain? What the Prophet knew, others did not. The Prophet knew of the role that his grandson Hussain would play to save Islam and the mission of the Holy Prophet. Imam Hussain was the key to survival of Islam. It was because of this the Prophet said that I am from Hussain. Allah had given the Prophet information about what would happen in the future. The Prophet therefore knew of all the cruelties and hardships that his grandson Hussain would face from the enemies of Islam, and these made him sad and even made him weep from time to time. Every time an opportunity arose, the Prophet would advise the Muslims to love and to honor his grandsons, Hassan and Hussain alayhi salam, as they would always be on the right path. These two sons of mine are two plants of flowers in this world. Whoever loves Hassan and Hussain loves me, and whoever dislikes them dislikes me. Whoever loves me should love them. Whoever wants to see a man from paradise, he should look at Hussain. Unfortunately, many Muslims forgot about the Prophet's advice and turned against Imam Hassan and Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain lost the loving company of his grandfather when he was only 7 years old. Later, during the rulership of Abu Bakr, Umar and Uthman from 11 AH to 34 AH, Imam Hussain, like his father Imam Ali and his brother Imam Hassan, was busy teaching Islam to the community. His services to Islam were continuous. Once Imam Hussain and Imam Hussain saw an old man performing wudu for prayers. Unfortunately, he was doing this wudu incorrectly. The two young Imams went to him and said, "O servant of Allah, can you do us one favor? O sons of the Prophet, what is it that I can do for you?" One of the Imams said, "There is a small misunderstanding between us. Each one of us claims that his way of doing wudu is correct. Can you be our judge? We'll do wudu in your presence, and then you decide whose wudu is correct and whose is wrong." The old man agreed. The young Imams performed wudu. The old man got the message. He said, "O the son of the Prophet, the way you do your wudu is the correct way. I was making mistakes. Thank you for correcting me in such a polite way." Such was the way of Imam Hussain and Imam Hussain in their youth and how they served the religion of Allah.